Good morning, good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to Interpersonal Toastmasters Club, where we care about your growth and your leadership. I will ask you kindly to mute your mics if you're not speaking, but keep your videos on to allow us to connect with one another. And now I would like to ask our president to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Welcome to everyone to another meeting of Interpersonal Toastmasters. Thank you all for your attendance tonight. We look forward to another excellent meeting of learning and fellowship. I would like to introduce tonight our Toastmaster of the evening. Let us welcome the distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome. I would like to welcome the guests who have arrived in our meeting today. First off, we have Chen Ming, who is going to be our grammarian today. And we have Venkatraman, who is going to be our counter. And another guest is Sastri, welcome. And a fourth guest, Arib, I can't see the rest of the name, but I'd like the guests to briefly introduce themselves. Let's start with Chen Ming. What club are you a part of? And thank you for joining us.
Yes. So my name is Chun Ming. I'm currently a member of Sunnyvale Speak Easy Toastmaster Club. Yeah, and it's my third time to this club. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next up, Venkatraman. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Toastmaster Venkatraman from TCS Maitri Synergy Park Toastmasters Club, Hyderabad, India. I've been Toastmaster since 5 years, and I would like to take the opportunity of being the counter for today's meeting. Thank you for the invite.
Okay, thank you. Then let's see. We have also Arib.
Yeah, hi, my name is Reeb. I'm not a Toastmaster yet, but I wanted to join as a guest to improve my communication skills as well as my speaking skills. So looking forward to this meeting. Back to you.
Wonderful. We're delighted to have you. And Sastri, would you like to introduce yourself? We seem to be out of touch at the moment. We are going to move on today. Thank you all once and for all, from good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this glorious world. Today, I am going to be hosting with a theme known as Dog Days. Has everyone heard the term Dog Days? Everyone heard the term? Well, we often refer to them as the dog days of summer. You see the dog panting with his tongue out, going, and often when we have the temperatures that we see during the summer months, we might be doing very much the same thing. We might stand in front of that fan with the wind blowing in our face to make sure we could cool off for those locations where they don't have air conditioning. And I know exactly how that pup is feeling. I've been there, have had my face at the fan that way as well. And we often might think of it the hazy, lazy days of summer, where all we want to do is just sit back and relax. But there's more to this term than you would imagine. It usually refers to the term of the time during the summer, particularly hot and humid, usually July and August in the Northern Hemisphere, where I happen to be a part of. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, but I spent a good part of my life up in the New York area. So Jim will know about those hot dog days of summer that we have often seen. the thoughts were, how do dogs act during these dog days? Well, we need to have anybody who's not speaking, please go on mute. If our host could please mute those that are speaking, please. So a lot of people might think of the dog days of summer have to do with dog behavior. For instance, it's so hot in the peak of summer that dogs will just go crazy from the heat or have a tendency to laze around because they're so hot. But the truth is that the term dog days of summer literally has nothing to do with dogs. Can you believe that? It actually has to do with the sweltering heat that we will see at sunrise. The dog star Sirius will appear, and it is part of the constellation known as Canis Majoris, and that's where they get the name from the greater dog. It has another nickname. It's called Alpha Canis Majoris. Not including our own sun, it happens to be the brightest star in the sky. When I started researching this, I was truly amazed by it because I was just thinking about my own personal experiences, but it's so much more than that. You see, that constellation up in the sky with that bright star, Sirius, is dead center. And you might ask yourself, how might I find that star? Well, it's very easy. How many of you have been able to see the constellation, the Belt of Orion? That's the three little stars that go across the sky very close to one another. Well, if you take that and you look just to your left and down, you're going to see that bright star, Sirius. It's 3 times brighter than our own sun, so we know that it is bright. And I am going to return with a theme a little bit later on with more information about the dog days of summer. But first, we're going to start off in the first of 3 segments of our Toastmasters meeting. And I do see that we've had a few guests join since we last introduced. One of them is Rosemary. Would you like to introduce yourself? Rosemary
Hi,
Sweeney?
good evening. It is 9:30 here. I'm in the Caribbean and we have very hot dog days of summer because we have summer year-round and now it is hotter than usual. It is 28 degrees centigrade right now and hot, hot, hot. I'm from Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. We only speak English. We do not speak Spanish. We are situated between Guadeloupe and Martinique. That's 2 French territories. I am a Toastmaster. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Next, we have a guest, Yvette. Would you like to introduce yourself? You are muted. Yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Yvette. I'm based off in San Jose, California. I'm originally from Ghana and I'm a data scientist by profession, and I'm looking to improve my presentation skills and interpersonal skills. So that's why I'm joining to see how this club is like.
Perfect. Have you ever been to a Toastmasters meeting before?
Yes, a couple of times, but I didn't have the bandwidth, the time commitment at the time. But for now, I think I'm quite specific about what I want to learn from the Toastmasters. So
Perfect.
I think I can make the time.
Perfect. We'd love to have you be part of us. Next is Rajiv. Rajiv Srinath. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, hearing not.
Rajiv, you there?
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Rajiv. I belong to TCS Maitri Kochi Toastmasters Club. I would like to know more. It's early morning here, so I'm just getting up and meeting with us. So looking forward for that.
Understood. Thank you. If each of our guests would be so kind as to put their email or contact in the chat, our Vice President of Membership, Namitha will be able to follow up with you so that you can be reinvited back to another meeting and perhaps even consider joining us. Well, as I said, the very first portion of our meeting is the educational portion. This is where we have a prepared speech, which will be later evaluated in the third portion. In between those two sections, we will have an impromptu skill session called Table Topics, but more about that later. I'd like to just review down our list that we have all of our roles filled. Our timer for today is going to be Namitha. Namitha, would you like to explain what your role will be and how you will be noting to the speakers the time limits?
Yes, Susan. So my role of timer today is to keep tabs on how much a person is speaking and at what time they have to stop speaking. Because we are in a time-based meeting, I'll be showing the flashcards, that is colors. When you speak for the minimum amount of time, I'll change my background to green. When you are in the middle of your speech, it will be yellow. And when you have reached the maximum limit, I'll change it to red. Apart from that, for the prepared speech, the timing is 5 minimum and 7 maximum. For table topics, it is 1 minute minimum and 2 minutes, 1 minute minimum and 2 minutes 30 seconds maximum. For the evaluations, it is 2 minutes minimum and 3 minutes 30 seconds maximum. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so very much. And our counter, then Katherine, would you like to explain your role?
Thank you, Toastmaster Susan. I am taking up the role of our counter today. My role will be to make a note of all the ahs, and ers and repeated words. And the repeated words would be like, you know, so, and. So these are the words I'm going to make a note of it. And I would present the report at the end of the meeting. This would help the members to refrain from using those words in the future speeches. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. And thank you for being a guest and stepping up for a role. Next up, we have Chun Ming, who's going to be our grammarian and word of the day master. Would you like to explain your role?
My role is to, as a grammarian, I will pay close attention to the grammar you use in your speech, and I will catch any grammarian errors, and also I will catch the good use of words or sentences. Yeah, and also I'm the word master. So do we have a word of today?
You can provide one, whatever you'd like. Just tell us the meaning and how it is used.
Okay. Maybe I can figure out in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And
fine.
And I try to use
that'd be fine if you would just take a few moments, find a word of the day. If you put it in the chat, perhaps the speaker can see it when it comes up. And if not, then he'll just miss the opportunity for it. But in the meantime, as soon as you can, and then we'll recognize you for the word if we haven't already gone over it. It gives me great pleasure today to announce to you that we're going to have our speaker today, Jim Denson, who is going to be evaluated by Catherine Opondo. Catherine, would you have Jim's speech information to introduce him?
Thank you so much, our Toastmaster DTM Susan. Jim Denson, it gives me great pleasure to evaluate you. Congratulations, you are taking on your presentation mastery pathway. And this is a second speech from the Understanding Your Leadership Style. It is an addendum to one of the speeches you've given before, whose title was In Honor of Wallace Bowden. Jim Denson, take to the stage right now. I look forward to listening to the speech, introduction, your body, and a conclusion that will be memorable, and the tenets of a good speech, which have the vocal variety, eye level, and your comfort level to us. We look forward to a wonderful, wonderful time listening to Jim Denson. Welcome everybody, Jim Denson.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Catherine. When I first spoke on March 30th, the first speech I gave about understanding leadership style, I focused on a fictional character who I'm inspired by. It's an actor by the name of Emmon Walker, who portrays a fire chief in the television series Chicago Fire. And in that television series, Mr. Walker portrays a fire chief by the name of Wallace Bowden. And Wallace Bowden resonates for me as a leader in that program because he balances certain styles that are familiar to Toastmasters, leadership styles. For example, he has no problem being authoritative when he is trying to maintain the integrity of his firehouse. For example, he would not allow disruptions or disagreements among his firefighters to negatively impact the functioning of his firehouse. He would have no qualms with saying, just work it out. Whatever disagreements you're having, work it out. I will not have you and your disagreements negatively impact the functioning of my firehouse. It won't happen. He balances that with incredible empathy, which is exemplified in altruistic leadership styles. An example of this from season 8 of Chicago Fire is when the firehouse lost a beloved member, another firefighter by the name of Otis. A shrine had been built by the firefighters, and it was on the premises of the firehouse, and it consisted of just a bronze statue of Otis's fire hat. So the firefighters were kneeling at the shrine in tears, and Wallace Bowden stood at the base of the fire hat, and in a magnanimous gesture of comfort and just compassion, he just shared Otis's last words: "I will always be with you." And that had a tremendous effect upon the firehouse. But again, as I say, that's a fictional character. But in real life, for me, both professionally as a paralegal and in my Toastmasters life, my leadership styles sort of flow between a democratic style that is most present during Toastmasters, be it in Toastmaster meetings or in leadership meetings, where the emphasis is on building consensus and at times allowing other people besides myself to take initiative. One example of this is during a recent officers meeting at one of the other clubs I belong to. I was asked, hey, Jim, can you give us a suggestion on a theme for one of our upcoming club meetings? Now, as I said, I'm partial to the democratic style, but at times like that, when I have to make a decision, I have to be authoritative and I have to believe in whatever choice that I'm making. And also it has to come across to the other members. I chose to suggest, hey, how about let's have an icebreaker night where our meeting will be devoted to people giving their very first speeches as members. It was well received by the rest of the officers of that club, And I'm happy to say that we're planning on having that meeting later this month in August. I can't wait. Now, also, too, the one other aspect of leadership is the altruistic style of leadership. And I notice that shows up for me more professionally in my job as a paralegal. I represent disabled clients in Social Security cases, and I help them win their cases before administrative law judges. We have other people at my job who practice the same area of law. So we're talking about our cases constantly. And many times people ask for my suggestions. Well, Jim, what do you think of what do you think the best approach is in this particular case? What are the best arguments that we can make so that our clients have the best chance of winning? I revel in those opportunities because the collaboration really does help. It really does make a difference, not only in my performance, but in terms of the performance of everybody. It just lifts everybody up. So I'm just as happy when one of my colleagues wins a case based on conversations that we've had. I'm just as happy then as I am when I win my own case. I think those opportunities are priceless. Now, but I've also, in researching the issue, besides the 8 leadership styles that are discussed in great detail in Toastmasters literature, I've come to understand that there's another aspect too of developing one's leadership style and understanding one's leadership style. And I'm going to call that your mindset. What's the mindset that you're coming into a leadership situation with? I'm speaking about mindset because earlier this afternoon, I listened again to a speech that I've heard many times over the years. And that's a speech by the great Martin Luther King Jr. It happens to be his final sermon delivered on February 4th of 1968. His sermon was entitled The Drum Major Instinct. Now, the drum major instinct, according to Dr. King, is the human tendency that we all have in certain respects or others, the tendency that we all have to want to be recognized and to want to be praised and want to be acknowledged. It can be a great instinct, a great tendency to have, Dr. King says, if it's used correctly. Dr. King warns us that there is a dark side to the drum major instinct also. And for me, from personal experience, it comes out when our quest to do great things, as we do at Toastmasters, our quest to do great things leads us to believe that we're better than others. And in college, my first 2 years in college, I would come home and be impatient with some of the people around my neighborhood who were not in college for reasons that are specific to them. It took my dad to say, look, as proud as you have every right to be of you being in college, don't forget, people from the neighborhood are just as much a part of you as anybody else, and they deserve as much respect and as much care as possible. So my call to you, in terms of understanding your leadership style, another part of it is also understanding what mindset are you bringing to it. Because as Dr. King's speech makes important reference to, knowing your mindset and leading for the right reasons, it's going to make the difference between a leader who garners respect and a leader who garners reproach. Which will you choose? The choice is yours, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jim. Wow, so glad to hear that. Wonderful. Please help me welcome Jim with a great round of applause for that speech. We'll hear a little bit more from his evaluator shortly, but in the meantime, we're going to take some time out for what we call table topics. This is where we have a question asked by our topic master. Randomly, I will remind the table topic master not to call on the evaluator at first until she has indicated that she is ready. That's Catherine.
I'm ready.
She's ready already. Okay, so she's fair game. But if we have guests, try to call on a club member first, just so they would be able to get the idea, get the gist of how this works. But before I move on to that, I would like to ask our grammarian, Chen Ming, to please share. He put it in the chat, but please share the word of the day for us.
So the word of the day is dog tired. It means extremely tired, worn out.
Wonderful. So we'll try to use that throughout our speeches, especially in table topics. Of course, the dog days of summer could lead one to be a bit dog tired, I'm sure. We'd like to now welcome our topic master, Siva. Please help me welcome Siva.
Thank you, TTM assistant. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know, there is some issue, unable to come in the video. I need to check on that. Apology for that if anything not connected. Once again, welcome all of you for our table topic session. So what is a table topic? It's an interesting session. It is an amazing thing. Whenever you try to start your speech, whenever you try to speak in front of others, even your first, even your last, always it is helping to improve and also overcome your fear, especially the stage fear. You can talk, anyone can talk. Even there's anyone, even the existing members, or else even the guest also, they can talk 1 to 2 minutes. They can test your tongue, you can test your confidence, you can test your thoughts, whatever you think. So you can come and talk 1 to 2 minutes. That's called the table topic session. So 1 minute the green card will be shown by timer, and 1.5 minutes yellow card will be shown, and 2 minutes will be green card will show. You can talk up to 2.5 minutes. At least you have to talk 1 minute. So that is the set of the rules. So that you will be qualified for voting at some. So anyhow, without any further delay, let us go for the session. I said anyone come and talk. Yeah, that is the things you can talk. No, not request anything. So today's theme is dog days of summer. So let us go with along whatever it is. Okay. So let me call who is going to talk fast. So first I will invite who's known person so that it be easy to pick up even guest also. Let me call Namita. So is it okay for you? Yeah. So your topic is what unforgettable summer day in your lifetime? Unforgettable lifetime in summer. Over to you, Ramita.
Thank you so much, Shiva. Now that brings back so many memories, but I won't go far back into my childhood. Instead, I will go back to this current summer that's going on here in Canada. And I went with my friends to Niagara Falls. And as you know, it is one of the most beautiful waterfalls in the world. It was an amazing experience because we had already planned how to reach there. I had already booked the boat cruise. We were looking forward to it. We woke up early that day. We went to Tim Hortons. We had a breakfast. And we're thinking, okay, how close will this boat cruise go? Will it go right under it? No, it's too dangerous. And we were waiting in the line for our turn to get the ticket. And because I had booked earlier itself, we were in the shorter line. And we were talking among each other that who knows swimming, who knows, some skills that will be useful in this particular cruise. In case something happens, and we got this free raincoats, ponchos, we wore that. We got into the cruise, and the cruise is as such that wherever you stand, you will have a good view of the fall. And trust me, we went so near to the waterfall that my spectacles were full of water droplets. I had to remove it to see around what is happening. And fortunately, it was a bright summer day, and the water was sparkling. The waterfall was giving a sprinkle of water towards us. It was not, force of water. It was not stinging our skin. It was very refreshing and it was exhilarating. Trust me, I was dog tired because I traveled from here in my city to Niagara Falls, which took a good 1.5 hours of travel after work. And then I went to this cruise on the next day. So yeah, that this particular trip was the one of the most memorable trip of this summer. Thank you, Table Topic Master. Over to you.
Thanks, Shinamita, sharing your experience in the summer days. Yeah, it's always good. Whenever the summer, we are going to trip and going to enjoy, especially the waterfall and going through the trip. Thank you, Namita, sharing your experience once again. So, who is going to be talk next? Otherwise, I will pick. Who is going to? Toastmaster Venkatraman, sir. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So your topic is. Okay, he left. Yeah. Okay, he's there. Okay. How the summer different from other days? How the summer different from other days? Toastmaster Venkatraman, over to you.
The summer, it's really bad at in your where we are staying. It's too hectic and we get dog tired all through the day, and we just wait for the summer to be over. It just begins in the month of March. We find the effect of the sun rays falling so sharply on us. It's a nightmare for us. We wait and see that the temperature doesn't increase all of a sudden, because the gradual increase will have a normal life effect for us. But in case there is a drastic effect of the temperature, it gives an impact on the people's life, because everyday work will not be able to perform properly. We get dehydrated, and we have to get hydrated all through the day to keep us energetic. So the month of March and April, we feel the real effect of the summer. And by May, we find that the temperature shoots up to 40 degrees centigrade, and that is too harsh on us. We all get so tired, even the ACs run all through the day, and we still feel so tired, we're not able to perform our activities properly. So that is the effect it has on us. And we all know that the global warming is approaching all over the globe. We see the recent the news which I have been watching, we find the global warming has been too harsh on all of us, all across the globe. So we need to see how we need to reduce the carbon emissions and also plant so many trees to get rid of this kind of temperature, because otherwise it is too difficult for us to live in this scenarios. So we all need to see that we plant a lot of trees, and we see that the global warming doesn't impact us and doesn't be harsh on us, so that we all don't get dog tired all the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkatraman, for your sharing your idea and thoughts about the particular topic. So, who is going to be next? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Looks like our guest Sashri has her hand raised.
Yes, I see. Yeah. Yeah, your topic is keep calm and enjoy the sun. Keep calm and enjoy the sun. Toastmaster. Sorry, guest Sashri. Over to you.
Good morning from India. Keep calm and enjoy the sun. Yes, it's very true. Early in the morning, very beginning, when sun is rising till the 9 p.m., 9 a.m. This is the time when you can take the sun bath and can get the radiation in a very calm mode so that the whole day will go very smoothly because you are able to help your body to accumulate all the vitamin D. The same way toward the end, when sun is setting, it's going, say bye-bye with a very calm mood. And again, this is the time so that you can again help your body to activate and increase the vitamin D level. Is it true? When we are a science student, we have learned this. I'm biology teacher, and every day I'm telling my student to do that. Yes, between these two times, the very sun is very hot. We all are busy with our cures and we are dog tired. And we have to take rest for the evening, the night. For that, also we need to be very calm because it's the everyday task we have to do. We don't have any control on that all things. We cannot say, son, please, son, you be calm now. Don't give me too much hot because I'm not able to take that. Only thing which is in your hand is to relax inside the house during the afternoon. And again, to others, when sun is going, say bye-bye with the calm gesture and say, please come back again tomorrow to make me healthy. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Yeah, thank you, Sashri, for sharing your thoughts. Keep calm, they come calm tomorrow. So, who is going to be next? Let me call Panda guest. Are you willing to talk next? Willing to take next topic? I don't know. I'm spelling correctly or not. Viti Konda. Yeah, willing to talk? I mean, you can take next topic.
I can give it a try.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Your topic is, it is always summer somewhere. It's always summer somewhere. Over to you.
It's always summer somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, certainly. It's always summer somewhere. And I can point to where that would always be. Somewhere like in Africa, it's always summer somewhere. And in Africa, it's almost always hot. So many activities to do. We get dog tired going to the market, trying to get water from the stream, going through traffic. You really get dog tired coming back and forth from work. With the summer, there's a lot of sweating. There's a lot of sweating. There's a lot of okay. I give up.
Good try, good try. That's how Toastmaster. Always testing you, always giving
Thank you.
to our best. Thank you for taking this topic. Then next, let me call guest Rajiv. Are you willing to take your topic? Next topic, Rajiv or Rosemary?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I will
Thank you,
go
Rajiv.
next.
Yes, sure. Your topic is every summer has a story. Every summer has a story. Guest Rajiv, over to you.
What is the best summer memory that you all have? I'm sure it's not just about dog tired days, or it's not just about the days you have been feeling so hot. It will definitely take back you to the childhood days where you earned for some. Those days where schools are closed and you are free out of the world of books and you are given the freedom to do whatever you are. Games, playtime, food, fun, enjoy with friends. Wow, isn't it amazing? You remember you lived this time. And now what happened? You grown up? Do you think you don't have time for those? Do you think you have all the works in your shoulders that you have to take up and you can't enjoy summer anymore? No way. We still have that inner child in all of us. My best memory of summer is really those days and what we can do for that. Like Toastmaster meetings, we have fun and learning together. Why can't we enjoy the summer with bringing our inner child back and doing all those fun activities? May not be with those times we may not have that extra amount of time as the timer also shows the cards between. We will have some restricted time, but in that time, can we still enjoy the same summer days back to our life? Just have at least half an hour for yourself, which will make us more lively and bring our inner child back, and also will get back our age to just numbers that we can't imagine. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajiv. So summer means always we feel a childhood time. It's not about cool or windy. So summer, even the hot, you always feel yeah, like a child and go and play. So, well said, Toastmaster Rajiv. Thank you very much for make this topic very well. And let's who is Rosemary? So ready to talk?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Your topic is the beach is calling and I must go. The beach is calling and I must go. Just
Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much. As I am sitting here listening to this awesome meeting, I can hear the waves on the shore. This is because I live right on the seashore and I can hear the waves and they are calling and I must go. This is what happens every day. I wake up and I hear the waves and I must go to the beach at least to take a 5-minute walk, a stroll. And what is so amazing, only earlier today, I was at a Toastmasters meeting, and a Toastmaster in India was saying that she loves to walk on the soil because the soil is a positive or negative, gives her energy. And I say, I too, the beach gives me energy, the sand on the beach. We are not like all other Caribbean countries. Our sand is black. And it is black because the island of Dominica sits on 9 volcanoes. Can you imagine that? So instead of the white sandy beaches and turquoise blue ocean, our sand is black with deep blue sea. And every day is summer here, so we are on the beach every day. It is free, it is in walking distance because our island is a very tiny island and we have sun, sea, and rivers. Because of the area we are, we have lots of rivers. We are nicknamed Dominica, the island which has a river for every day of the year. So we boast of 365 rivers. Some people argue, no, it cannot be true. It is one source and goes out. But we say, yes, we have those rivers because we have beautiful waterfalls. So while we are up in the mountains, in the falls, we sometimes say, oh, let's get back to the beach because the beach is very warm. So it's not every time it is calling and we must go, because in this summer and the heat, we prefer to be at the river than the sea, because the sea can be very hot. I heard a Toastmaster talking about global warming a while ago, and yes, it is affecting us. Our beaches are encroaching on our lands. So before, whereas we would walk out to the sea is right there. It has taken over some areas with trees. So you are seeing now the trees are on right there on the shoreline. So the beach is calling and we must go. However, there are certain times of the year when we run away from the beach, because leaving that beach, I'm not seeing the time, leaving that beach can sometimes, going to that beach can sometimes be having dog tired days. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you, guest Rosemary. Well said, and thanks for sharing your experience in summer. So, timer, please let me know. Still, we have time. We can go one or two.
I think we need to close it. Thank
Yes.
you for those questions, Siva. Thank you so very much. I must say, I was very impressed for you to have all the questions within the theme. And on top of that, we had every single one of the speakers use the word of the day. I'm blown away by that. I don't think I have ever seen that, including a vet who's a guest and have never been to Toastmasters before. This is truly amazing. I am so thankful to have each and every one of you here today. We are going to have just a brief touchback on the theme before we go to the third portion of our meeting, which is our evaluation. And I will be brief, but I do need to share the rest of my screen. So if I will go back to where we left off. If the mouse will cooperate, it doesn't want to cooperate. What's going on? I've lost my mouse. It's there. It doesn't want to move. It does not want to move. It's on. There we are. But we're going to scroll through. It's not coming on. Okay, hold on a moment, please. We're going to try this one more time. It worked just before, so it should work again. We're going to go down to our next portion of it from the current slide. So there are some things that I wanted to share with you about the dog days of summer. Because you see, in ancient Greece and Rome, they were thought and believed to be a time of drought, bad luck and unrest, where dogs and men alike would be driven mad by the extreme heat. Today, the phrase doesn't conjure up such bad imagery, but instead they're associated with purely the time of summer's peak temperatures and humidity. Now, in ancient Egypt, there was a time when the Nile River had flooded every year, usually late June. The people actually welcomed that because it was called the inundation. The floodwaters would bring with it rich soil that was so needed to grow crops in what was otherwise known as a desert. And no one actually knew when that flooding would start. They didn't have the privilege of the same calendars that we did. But what they noticed is there was a coincidence that gave them a clue. The water began to rise on the days when Sirius, known to them as Sothis, began to rise before the sun. And Sothis and the inundation became so important to the Egyptians' survival that they began their new year with the moon that followed that star's first appearance on the eastern horizon. Now you can see that hot summer, and I saw the background of one of our guests as well, that same sweltering heat of summer. But did you know that there were some folklore items where they said that old-timers believed that rainfall on the dog days was a bad omen? As they said, dog days bright and clear indicate a happy year. But when accompanied by rain, for better times our hopes are vain. They actually thought that all liquid would become poisonous during that time, so they would outlaw swimming. Can you imagine not being able to cool off in the swimming in the summer? And sometime back in the 1970s, there was this great movie, and it was based on a true story. In 1972, in New York City, 250 police officers, the FBI, and 8 hostages, and 2,000 people were onlooking out in the streets, a day that would never forget. It was a movie called Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. For some reason or another, things didn't go well, and they got caught in the bank with all of the hostages, and they just didn't know what to do. And they blamed it on the Dog Day Afternoon that they had. True story. Great movie if you have the chance to go see it. And then something a little more current, Dog Days, of course, The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It wasn't my time frame to watch that, but I've heard about the Wimpy Kid, The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they even mentioned the Dog Days. I wonder if they were dog tired. And the Dog Days actually showed up as a word of the day on Merriam-Webster's dictionary word of the day that I subscribe to on a daily basis. And it said that Dog Days was a plural that refers to the hottest time of the year, in which the Northern Hemisphere is usually between July and September. The Dog Days, however, can also be referred to of a time of stagnation or inactivity, suggestive of hot, sultry weather, where it can be difficult to summon the energy for hard work. And I'd like to thank Namitha for sharing this flyer that we had for our Dog Days of Summer today, because he was dog tired for sure. But I wanted to add the addendum. Today, here in Florida, where I live, Melbourne, Florida, Central Florida, the high today was 89 degrees. I know that's hot for you folks over in India. If we convert to Celsius, I'm sure it's hot, but it felt like 105, 97 in the shade, extreme heat. Think if I do the math, 9/5, so you come out and divide 5 nines, 90 was 10 to be over 50 for that 89. Never mind the 105 and the rest, but that would be my quick math. So thank you, Namitha, for the flyer for the Dog Days of Summer. I'm going to stop sharing and we'll move into the next portion of our meeting. Thank you. Our next portion of our meeting is where we hear the feedback and evaluation that we so treasure here in Toastmasters, because we get immediate feedback, not only of suggestions to improve, but also things that we've done well. It's a validation of the pluses as well. And to evaluate Jim's speech is none other than Toastmaster Katharina Pondo. Please help me welcome Catherine.
Thank you so much, DTM Susan, and our Toastmaster of the Day, and especially to Jim Denson. Thank you for taking us through the presentation mastery path with a very, very, very well presented speech. You started us off by giving us the history of where your speech is coming from. You gave us a recap and you brought us to where your title begins and how we should understand why you used the honor of Wallace Bowden, a fictional character. And then you described his leadership style and why immediately we get to understand the purpose of your speech. You gave us an example of how his authoritarian style is balanced with incredible empathy. That indeed was something he used to solve problems. Your analysis of this leadership style was very clear and intriguing. It hooked us to begin to follow through with your speech. You allowed us to understand certain aspects of his leadership style. And these I will mention: comfort and compassion. And then you mentioned one statement that he made, an unforgettable statement. So you kept on, it felt like I was watching a movie. Then you kept on giving us those statements that he said, I will always be with you. And then you moved on to another level. You gave us your version of what your leadership style is. You told us about how you have the democratic style and that is building consensus or allowing others to take initiative. And how this contributed to you making a theme, giving value to a theme for a club meeting. And you even made us understand that it's actually taking place in this very month. That was very relatable to us as Toastmasters to understand how to apply this leadership style. You also brought out the aspects of the leadership style in the month, and you explained how you use the altruistic style. But also you took us to the profession as a paralegal. You helped us understand how to utilize this style in dealing with specific cases and how to use this style to help you face your customers or other customers win and the opportunities. You were using language that was awakening. You said things like opportunities are priceless. So it kept us going and going. And then you took us to another, this time a historic character. You started with a fictional character, now you've taken us to a historic character, Dr. Martin Luther King. And we all are aware of his contribution to society and to how he has made the world a better place. But then you picked out a specific lesson for us. You called us to action. You said to us, what is critical to our leadership style or developing our leadership style is the mindset. You added to the knowledge of the past. I feel that this was very, very pivotal in how you delivered your speech. And then you caused us to action. You told us about the tendency that you want to be recognized. Then you said, this is okay, it's validated, which was very good. You also told us that it's only good if you use it the right way. Other than that, it will lead us to certain levels desired. Then you asked us a big question. So your biggest takeaway from me of what I saw was that you helped us understand that knowing your mindset is so critical to develop the leadership style that you have. So the mindset that you come with, which was very, 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 very remarkable. You asked us the last question, a leader who earns respect and one who gets reproach, which one will you choose? That was a very powerful conclusion. Jim Denson, I saw that you were comfortable. You had great aspects of your speech. It is unforgettable. What would I recommend? I would recommend just two basic things. It was difficult to find, but I would recommend perhaps if you throw in a joke or lighten the speech a little further by bringing something that makes us laugh or lightens it up because it's a heavy topic. Or you could have carried maybe a prop to lighten it up a little bit. But I would like to commend you for a very well delivered speech. I will never forget this speech in my lifetime. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And isn't that the goal that we have in Toastmasters? Not only just to give a speech, but to leave behind a message to others that is unforgettable. That is really the goal of success today, Jim. Thank you. We are now going to hear from our meeting functionaries. And although we usually go tag team, timer, counter, and grammarian, I'm going to defer to our guests first. So I'm going to go to our counter. Venkatraman, would you like to give your report?
Thank you, Toastmaster Susan. I'm going to present the R counter report for today's meeting. I would like to present the report on the screen for the benefit of all the Toastmasters and guests. It's really amazing to find that many of the speakers haven't used the crutch words of today's meeting. It's really amazing to know that I've been a very keen listener. I had to keep my ears very sharp, carefully to listen to all the speeches. And here is a report. I could find that there was one R used by Toastmaster Namita, and probably I would have used one or two. My conscience says I have not kept a count on that. Probably I would have made one or two R's. And the repeated words used by Toastmaster Jim Denson is that is he used twice. and the guest, Iveta Kondo, used the repeated word with. So this is all I could find in today's meeting. I really kudos to all the speakers who have not used the crutch words or the filler words in their speeches. Over to you, Toastmaster Susan. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking the role as well. And we do appreciate it because in Toastmasters, communicating is not just about speaking, but it's about effective listening. And so the roles of a counter and grammarian will do just that. Next up, we're going to have a grammarian. Chun Ming, would you like to give your report, please?
Yes. So in today's meeting, there are a lot of good use of the grammar or words, like Toastmaster Susan. When you introduce the theme of today's meeting, dark days, you used hazy, lazy, dog, lays around these words. Yeah, I think it's a very vivid words. And our speaker Jim, you said your leadership skill, leadership styles is flow between democrat and authoritative. So I like the word you flow. And other Toastmaster, Toastmaster, what's the or no, our table topic master. Yeah, it's so he said in his question, beach is calling. I must go. I think that's a good use. Beach is calling. Yeah, it's good. And otherwise, I didn't catch. I didn't caught any. I didn't catch any grammar errors. And also, I have. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. And I kind of jumped in by mentioning the word of the day was used by everyone in the table topic section, which is very rare. And I was very impressed by that. So thank you for that. Next up, we're going to hear from our timers report. I know you put it in the chat, but it is your opportunity to speak. So we're going to give you that opportunity.
Thank you, Susan. Well, we are way over our time by 5 minutes, so I'll just keep it short and sweet. Our speaker spoke for 9 minutes 29 seconds. Our evaluator spoke for 5 minutes 07 seconds. And except for Rosemary, all the table topic speakers were within the time limits. Thank you, and over to you, Susan.
Excellent, thank you. And to review back the meeting, we started on time. We are just a minute or two over, and I thought every moment was well worth listening to. Jim's speech I could have listened to for another 10 minutes. It was so intriguing. And Catherine, because the speech was so much longer, I know you had so much more to say. It is fine. If you were in a contest, you would have been disqualified. But here in the meeting, we'd like to hear the wonderful words of wisdom that you have to share. So nobody is kicking you off the team because you ran over a minute or two. I know I'm guilty of that on occasion myself. So we have to be forgiving and flexible, and we'll be finished in just a few moments. I do note that Siva has dropped off, so we'll need to get our meeting roles done subsequently rather than during the meeting. But I would like to hear back feedback from our guests. So I'm going to start with you, Yvette. Did you enjoy this experience? Might you come back, and do you see it as value to come join this group?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed the session. I don't know if this is just the normal size of the group, but I think I like the small group setting, and I'm trying to stop the
It's okay. Okay.
I think I'll be back. I think I'll be back. I like the time too. The time favors me as well. So
Perfect. Please leave your email in the chat so our Vice President of Membership, Namitha, can follow up with you for contact information. We'd love for you to come back, and if you think that this is for you, we'd be glad to talk to you about joining our club. This is wonderful. Next up,
thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll go to next Venkataraman. This is another second visit or third visit you've had with us. Did you enjoy this meeting as well?
Yes, I really enjoyed today's meeting. Yeah, and today I learned the dog days. Yeah, because before I didn't know dog days, and also I like Jim's speech. Yeah, especially his sharing about the leadership mindset. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And your word of the day was very suitable for the topic. You see how well it was used. That's great. Wonderful. Next up are Akanta Venkataraman.
Really enjoyed to be part of this meeting, and especially at the last minute invite by you to take up the role of accountant. I was pleased to take it up, even though I need to get ready to go to office now. But I really enjoyed. I do keep attending your meetings, and probably I may give a speech in your club meeting as well. I'm looking forward to. Thank you very much.
We would love to have you come join us as a member, be part of us. Next up, I'll ask Rosemary, did you enjoy the meeting? Did you find it value added for your day?
I do enjoy the meetings. In the earlier time of this club, I would be here regularly because it was during COVID. But because of the time, right now we are 10:30 going. Because of the time, I do not come. But then since last month, I said I wanted to come because there's always something to learn in a Toastmasters club. And this club, I love your evaluations. I love your speakers. I love the atmosphere of the club. So I said I would be here, and I will be back.
Perfect. Same time for me and for Jim. We're on the East Coast as well
yes.
of the US, so we understand truly.
Yeah.
And Sashri, would you please tell us how you enjoyed the meeting? Did you find it valuable to attend? Sashri, are you still there? Okay, well then I'm going to quickly adjourn the meeting, but if the officers want to stay on board just for a minute to talk with Jim, we'll be glad to do that. The officers stay on board and the others can be dismissed. This meeting is now adjourned. 6:30, let's say 7:38 Pacific, 10:38 Eastern. Good night, all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you. Welcome back anytime.